here is the ancient biblical heartland of Judea and Samaria, also known by many as the West Bank. Now, these are areas that you've read about in your Bible and where it's estimated that close to 400,000 Jews live today. We're heading there this week to visit one of those Jewish communities, Efrat. It's located in Judea, just a little over 7 miles south of Jerusalem. We met up with the mayor of Efrat, Oded Ravivi, who shared some of the exciting things happening in Efrat and how his community plays a vital role in Israel's security. Mayor Ravivi is also the chief foreign envoy for the Yesha Council, which is the umbrella organization representing the Israeli communities of Judea and Samaria. Take a look. Well, Mayor, thanks so much for having us in Efrat. What a view here.
My pleasure.
Yeah, and it's great to be here, and some great things are happening in Efrat. Tell us what's going on here.
On our right-hand side, you can see, in a way, the past, what has happened in Efrat for the first 25 years. And on this side of us, you can see the new development taking place. In Efrat today, we have 10,000 residents, and we're in the process of building another 1,100 new units to host another 6,000 people who are moving in, literally, these days.
So this is a very large area, 16,000 people, Mayor. Now, Efrat, tell us a little bit about the history. You've been here for a while.
The story starts way back in the Bible when our mother Rachel gives birth to Benjamin, and she passes away whilst giving birth to Benjamin, and she's buried on the way to Bethlehem on the route which is called Ephrata, which according to our belief, this is where it happened. And Efrat is mentioned once again in the Bible when we have two youngsters, Ruth and Boaz, falling in love, playing their love story in the outskirts of Bethlehem, which is just behind that hill. And out of that love story becomes a marriage where God promises us that the King of Israel will be born out of that love story. So it's all happening here. And when we come back in 1983, it's only to relive the dream of Ruth and Boaz that were promised in the book of Ruth, that please God, you shall be prosper in Efrat. This is where our prosperity is.
Yeah, you know, Mayor, this is the biblical heartland where we're standing right now. A good chunk of the Bible happened here in this area. I'm sure that's a draw for people to come live here, to be a part of the biblical heartland. What are some of the other reasons that Israelis come to Efrat to live?
The quality of air, the quality of life, the view, the nature, the surrounding. Everything that you see around you is what draws people to come and live here. It's the past, it's the history, it's the Bible, but it's also the quality of life that is surrounding us here today. The units here that they were sold, the contractors came to me and they said, you know, something miraculous is happening. We're selling units by the dozens without investing a cent in advertising, and they couldn't believe it. And the demand is so big that even when I tell you that we're building here 1,100 new units, they were all bought on paper with completion time in 5 years. And that's what brings people here. The quality, the view, the history, and a combination of all these three together.
I think one of the other interesting things, Mayor, of what you're doing here in Efrat is you live near Palestinian communities as well, and you guys have done a lot of outreach with the local Palestinian communities. Tell us a bit about that as well.
The fact that we live so close to the Palestinians, in my respect, is a role model as to how you can create coexistence in this, what, you know, some of those people who have never been here call conflict zone, disputed territories. They haven't seen the reality. They haven't seen the fact that just here between us and these houses, there are fields which are owned by private Arabs who come and maintain their land on a daily basis. They're not disturbed, and they're not disputing that this land belongs to us, and we can live one alongside the other. We can build one alongside the other, and that's basically what we're trying to convey to people who come here. So whoever sees this show and wants to come and see the reality in his own eyes is more than welcome to connect us.
You know, it's interesting, some of those Arabs caught heat too from their fellow Arabs for meeting with the people in Efrat, but you guys continue to reach out and have that strong relationship with everyone surrounding, Jew and Arab alike. It seems that some at the UN, in Europe, etc., believe that communities like Efrat are the problem, more so even than Hamas and Iran. They seem to lay the problems in the Middle East at the feet of places like Efrat. How do you respond to that, and how do you make that feel? I know you meet with some of these delegations from time to time, whether it's the EU, I'm sure you've met with some UN representatives. What's the message you give to them?
So I even had the opportunity of meeting John Kerry, and I saw very quickly where we disagree. The mere fact that the American ambassador is not allowed to come and see the reality here puts him in a position that he doesn't really understand the reality here. And when I have delegations coming over and I introduce them to my Palestinian neighbors, and these Palestinian neighbors say that they're for peace, they're for coexistence. Some of them are so brave that they're willing to say that they prefer to be part of Israel than part of Palestine. It's merely because they know exactly what type of regime is governing them. Corrupt, not reliable, who doesn't care about their citizens. Now when you come and see the fact that in Efrat there are 10,000 people today, every single day I've got 1,000 Palestinians coming and working in Efrat. When you go and ask those Palestinians what is their dream, they would say to you to have a peaceful relationship, that we know that we can go to work in the morning, come back home with enough money in our pockets to supply for our families. There are 1,000 families being supported by building this settlement.
Arab families.
Arab families. And when you understand that, and you understand that there's a whole ecosystem here, which is based on the relationship with our neighbors, with an understanding that the settlements are not the obstacle for peace, but they can be the ones who can promote peace, because we can provide working places. When you go to the industrial areas and you see Palestinian workers, and then you hear that there's a BDS organization calling to boycott that specific factory, what's the outcome? The factory is afraid, it closes down. Who are the first ones to suffer? Those poor Palestinians. John Kerry doesn't really take into account those private individuals who are seeking enough earning to supply for their families.
Well, 10,000 people now, Mayor. Pretty soon, 16,000 residents of Efrat. I guess the message is you're here to stay.
We're here to stay, and we understand that also the Arabs around are here to stay. And if we've got a message to convey, is that yes, we can get along with one another as long as other people don't come and disturb and rock the boat. And leave it to us to find out how we can live one alongside the other, and the future will be much better.
Mayor, thank you so much. From the biblical heartland. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Come
it.
again.
Excellent. We will. Thanks again to Mayor Ravivi for joining us and sharing some of the exciting things happening in Efrat. Well, up next, we're joined by the founding chief rabbi of Efrat, who describes what drew him to the biblical heartland. It's The Watchman. It's Christians United for Israel, only right here on TBN. Don't move.